So my video cut off a little bit, or I had to cut it off. My daughter was texting me. Um, so anyway, so it would become very distressing for me when my husband was scouting these other women out when we were out together doing stuff. But I never, it never came together in my mind that, that he was looking at pornography. He had pornography brain, and that was part of the reason that he was ogling these women. He had a lust problem, and he was had wandering eyes. That never occurred to me, and just a severe lack of disrespect, especially since especially since I had told him so many times from early on, stop doing that. Stop doing that. It was like he had no sense of what he was doing. Now, after having watched so many videos on narcissism, and there is no way that I think he was doing this without knowing what exactly he was doing. I think I was married to a covert narcissist. And even, even with, sometimes my mind will blank out like that. I'm sorry. Trauma brain. It's been just a very, very interesting road. And it's been 2.5 years now, and it feels like 10. I am surprised that I am still here today sometimes. That's how difficult it has been. And those of you that have survived this sort of abuse, you truly, truly are survivors, because there's nothing quite like this. Like, it is horrendous. So, as you know, for years, if you go through something like this, if you go through a betrayal, it's not just a one and done betrayal. They go through, the person that you're with, the person that does the betraying, they'll go through years. It's a process of them grooming you to accept this kind of abuse, for them to abuse you, to get you to accept this sort of abuse. And so this is second to none, and it absolutely is abuse. And I got away. This was not something that I was going to tolerate. It took, so when I found out, and then there was all these trickles, and oh my goodness, the first thing I did, like many of you did, was I said, I gotta find you the help that you need. So I neglected myself, which is very much what a lot of women do. And I found him the help, I found him the books, and I found him the therapists, and I found him the groups, and I found him everything. And I completely neglected myself. And that's very common. It's a very common thing to do. But that's what I did. And I focused all my energy on him. And so, yeah, it was all about him. Everything turned towards him. I neglected, I just felt like I neglected the whole family. Um, like it was so very, very, very sad. There was about 2 months prior to this, I remember sitting on the couch on one side and he was on the other side. And our little girl, who was like 14 at the time, she ran down the hallway, or she came running to us. He was on his phone, and I think I was watching something on my phone, and we were on the same couch. And she came kind of like running towards us and told us something, and really happily, and then she kind of skipped off. And I remember thinking to myself, she lives such a happy existence because we have such a good family life. And, we had been married for 13 years at that point. And we had never had like a lot of money. We'd always lived kind of tightly. But I was like, well, it's because we have a really good family. And this was before I had right before I found out about what he had been doing. And yeah, so then I found out, and so I focused on him getting all the help, and neglected my needs. And it he got into a group, like a Sexaholics Anonymous group, which I had found for him. And he started doing that and going a couple times a week, or he may have gone every day for a while. I kind of forget. But it did not take long to realize that there were just more and more lies that were coming forth, and that he wasn't honest about anything ever. Not ever. And that this guy did not seem capable of telling the truth ever. Like, it was truth mixed with lie. It was lie after lie. It was, I can't remember, I don't remember, or do I remember, or now I don't remember. Or, it was torture. And because I wanted to keep our family together, and because I loved him, and because it was 13 years, and because my whole life was wrapped up around in him, and because I couldn't imagine my life without him, and because he was the financial provider, and because all my security was wrapped up in him, all of my effort went towards keeping us together. And when I just realized we were going to go do there was like somewhere around the 4-month mark that I realized he was telling a really big fat lie. I think it was really unbelievable too. It was really shocking to me. Like, I can't believe this is my life. I can't believe I'm living this right now. Is this actually happening to me? It was one of those moments. Like, how did I end up with this person? How was I so misled to have married such a bad man? Because I thought he was a good man. I really, really did. I thought he was a good man. It was so utterly shocking when I realized what a bad man he was, and how little he cared for me, and how he would throw me under the bus like he did not care. I realized, my gosh, he does not give a crap. He doesn't give one crap. Because if he did, he would be acting differently. And he's not. And it was such a moment. I had a few of those moments that were so eye-opening that it couldn't be ignored. It could not be ignored how little he cared. He was never blatantly rude. He was never like throwing things, yelling, nothing like that. It wasn't like that. But it was so obvious to me how little he cared because of the truth he was willing to hide. And you don't do that to someone that you love. You fight for the truth, and you fight for them. You fight for love, and your relationship cannot be based on a lie. That's a relationship is based on truth. You have nothing if you don't have the truth. And so there were rumblings of another woman, and I found out that with men like these, you only ever know the tip of the iceberg, and they only will tell you what they think you can handle. And yes, so there was talk of a few women, and yes, oh, good grief. Okay, guys. Okay.